The man in front of me works as the leader of the villains. Every single day, he hunts down the absolute worst scum of society. And his enemies? The superpowered freaks that people call heroes. To the underworld, he's known as the ultimate final boss. But in his day-to-day life, the guy just pretends to be a regular company's CEO. All he wanted was a quiet, normal life with his civilian girlfriend. But during a visit to meet her family, he realizes everyone sitting at the table is a top-tier hero. Still, he's dead set on keeping his identity a secret. He just wants to get married in peace. So, I pull out a business card for my company, Devil Cleaning. Her grandpa looks at the card and chuckles, calling me a promising young man. He says he doesn't know the first thing about running a business. I force a nervous laugh, and tell him it's just a tiny startup. Nothing worth bragging about. Turns out, Grandpa is the former patriarch of my girlfriend, Hei-in's, family. The absolute legend who built their family's empire from the ground up. You see, in this world, about 40% of the population has superpowers, and those abilities usually run in the bloodline. Back in the day, rogue superhumans caused absolute chaos. Hei-in's family started out as just a bunch of street vigilantes. They eventually evolved into a legendary hero family that protects the entire region. These elite families even teamed up to form the National Hero Council, keeping the entire country in check. And the living legend who started it all is sitting right in front of me, complaining that his dinner roll is too hard. Man, my hands are literally shaking. Just one word from him could completely destroy my life. Hey, Garam, what are you zoning out for? My future mother-in-law asks what exactly it is I do at work. She asks if I'm super busy. Well, how'd I put this? Actually, I manage a team of cleaning specialists. We head out to factories, or, other big facilities, and clean up whatever needs to be taken care of. I usually have my crew handle the heavy lifting, but if push comes to shove, I'll roll up my sleeves and do the dirty work myself. So, yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it. It's, pretty messy, exhausting work, to be honest. Right then, the head chef rolls out a massive cart with even more food. Oh, you've gotta be kidding me. How long do I have to sit here? Damn it. If this dinner goes on any longer, my cover is blown for sure. Just eat, eat, eat. Shovel it down so I can get the hell out of here. Suddenly, my phone buzzes. I just know it's one of my guys trying to reach me. I absolutely cannot let them hear this conversation. I quickly excuse myself to my future in-laws, saying I need to take this. I slip in my earpiece. Didn't I specifically tell you I had a massive night tonight? So why the hell are you bothering me, Kay? My deepest apologies for the interruption, boss. We've finally cornered the target we've been tracking. They're surrounded, right at the Lee family estate where you are. My god, keep talking. I'm assuming the operation is going smoothly? Well, about the target. Hope I'm not interrupting your call? Do you smoke? No, thank you. Hei-in hates the smell of smoke. I quit a long time ago. Did he just hear my conversation? I need to keep my guard up around this guy. Hei-in, he starts. After today, your relationship will finally reach the next level. The future is wide open for you two. He jokes that he, her uncle, isn't even married yet, and here his little niece is about to tie the knot. He gestures for me to sit down so we can have a little chat. He mentions that when Hei-in first introduced her family to me, I must have been completely terrified and shocked. Ever since she was born, she's been frail and sickly, he tells me. She never manifested any superhuman abilities. So, for her own safety, we've always done our absolute best to keep her out of the public eye. She'd never tell a soul that she comes from a family of heroes. I bet she must feel so lonely. But right now, as her actual uncle, he just wants her to find a good guy to settle down with, to get the happiness she deserves. He enthusiastically offered to help me prepare the wedding invitations, and I happily accepted. Actually, I already had the invitations ready. The EMPT file should be right here. Looking for this? He slammed it down on the table. How could you be so careless and lose it? Do you have any idea where I found this, Garam? I found it at the scene of the recent raid against the villain, Executioner. Damn it, how could I be so stupid? To leave something so important right at the scene. Looks like I'll have to take care of you now, Kim Il-hoon. Testing, testing. The KLF broadcast suddenly blared from the speakers. Kim family, have you finished your dinner yet? This place has already been completely taken over by the Executioner. Wait, what? Where did the Executioner come from? Aren't I the real one? Kay just showed up at the scene. If you don't want the hostages to die, get down to the parking lot. You filthy hypocrites. Kim Il-hoon and I just stared at each other in shock. We immediately sprinted to the banquet hall. But when Kim Il-hoon pushed the doors open, we realized everyone was gone. They had already evacuated. I rushed toward the balcony. If they weren't here, where could they be? Where is my Kim Hei-in? Then, I looked down and saw the Kim family heading straight for the parking lot. Kim Hei-in was right behind them, being carefully protected. You've gotta be kidding me. Who the hell is impersonating me? Wait, isn't that my subordinate? Kay? Why is he here too? Wasn't he going after the Lee family? My phone buzzed. It was a text from K saying he switched targets, and now he's after Kim Hae-in. You little punk, setting me up like this? What the hell am I supposed to do now? Kim Il-hoon patted my shoulder, telling me to stay put for a second. Is he going to handle this himself? Kim Il-hoon was locked and loaded. He activated his air jet ability. One strike from that would be absolutely lethal. No way, I need to make some noise. To draw their attention. Meanwhile, on the other side, my father-in-law was interrogating K on how he found their location. You think that's the only information that got leaked? I'm talking about your precious Kim Hae-in. Did you really think the media wouldn't find out about her? Of course they would, because she doesn't have a single ability to protect herself. Now they wanted to know how K got his hands on all this. Do you honestly think I'd tell you my sources? Not a chance. If I get the opportunity, I'll kidnap you and use you as a hostage myself. Alright, keep talking. Kim Il-hoon was already gearing up to finish off the villain. Wait, no. What the hell are you doing? I threw myself off the ledge. I crashed right into the bushes below. The subordinates were just staring, wondering who this idiot was. Alright, now it's my time to shine. Kim Hae-in rushed over, worried sick if I was hurt. I played it cool, saying it just stung a little. What are these two doing here? K, you're in serious danger right now. Do you have any idea? Why does this guy look so damn familiar? Boss, is that you? It's pretty rare to see you in casual clothes. This kid still has no idea what kind of situation he's in. Looks like I'll have to play a little dirty. Just shut your mouth for a second, K. A boulder wrapped in a massive shockwave came hurtling right at K and me. What on earth are you doing? My father-in-law, Kim Young-shik, was starting to suspect if I had some kind of superpower too. Because of what I did, Kim Il-hoon finally dropped his suspicion that I was working for the executioners. I marched furiously toward K. Don't blame me for hitting too hard. Boss, what are you doing? Please, don't hit me. We're on the same side. I was just getting ready to beat the crap out of my own subordinate. But I never expected my father-in-law to shrink down and leap over to me. He actually told me to calm down. Phew, the cops have already shown up. He was getting suspicious about how an ordinary guy like me could be so damn strong. I completely faked being furious, pointed right at my subordinate, and yelled. How dare he try to kidnap Kim Hae-in? My subordinate was completely clueless. Hae-in? So what? My father-in-law was trying to drag me away. I frantically tapped on my phone. Retreat, retreat. Finally, my subordinate saw that I was spamming him with messages to pull back. K finally put two and two together. He realized his boss had a hidden agenda all along. You idiot, K, hurry up and run. Why the hell are you still sitting there? The other grunts ran over to check on K. K stared at his phone, lost in thought. Why, boss, I just don't get it. How on earth are you so tight with the Kim family? We're supposed to be the bad guys. Why are you acting so weak, boss? What happened to all that toughness from before? I seriously don't understand you. Just why? Right at that moment, another subordinate pulled out the time bomb I had given him. Now, boss, let's blow all these so-called heroes to kingdom come. As he said that, pow, he got shot right in the arm. The time bomb slipped right out of his hands. Somebody grab that bomb, now. Do not let it go off here. Suddenly, a glow of green telekinetic energy caught the bomb perfectly in midair. My mother-in-law was using her psychic powers. She caught the bomb and hurled it way up into the sky. We don't have to worry about the bomb anymore. Just watch out for the enemies. But K actually lunged straight toward the bomb. He was trying to grab it and throw it back down to detonate. I flashed my phone screen right at him, staring him down in dead silence. Back the hell off right now. Do not touch that bomb. He missed his grab completely, way too scared to lay another finger on that time bomb. K dropped back down to the ground with a heavy thud. There was only 1 second left on the countdown. The bomb hovered high in the night sky before a blinding white light exploded outwards. I was wondering where the hell this protective barrier came from. It was Kim Hae-in's older brother, Kim Hae-yun. He threw up a shield and protected every single one of us. Meanwhile, K just could not understand why his boss was protecting the enemy. Was there some kind of hidden agenda? But for now, he decided to just swallow his questions and follow my orders. But right at that moment, another grunt pulled out a brand new explosive. He laughed, saying he always kept a backup plan ready. Without missing a beat, K kicked him right in the gut. Tell the guys to stand down. The plan is officially off. Don't do anything stupid, just listen to me. K frantically tried to cover it up, claiming the ambush was nothing but a scare tactic. But a regular civilian stepping up to fight back? That really left an impression on me. With that, K shot me a subtle thumbs up. We're pulling out. His men immediately asked why they were running away. K sighed helplessly, saying it was the boss's orders. The grunts in the back were still double-checking. Are we really falling back? Yes. How many times do I have to say it? Suddenly, he felt a terrifying pressure looming right behind him. Kim Young-shik glared at him. You think you can just cause a mess and run away? A blinding green aura erupted around him. K had clearly underestimated a guardian's true strength. He panicked inwardly. This isn't right, boss. Aren't you gonna stop him? The scene cuts. His hands were locked tight in power-suppressing cuffs. He slumped into the backseat of the police cruiser, looking completely dead inside. On his phone screen were dozens of frantic texts from me telling him to retreat. But it was way too late. Inside the transport van, one of the escort grunts was still cluelessly asking questions. Kay just told him to shut the hell up. Under the night sky, the leaves rustled in the wind, as if falling silent after the chaotic storm. The Kim family laughed, celebrating another villain behind bars. And a big fish, at that. The crisis was finally over. I let out a massive sigh of relief, holding tight to Kim Hae-in's hand. But Hae-in suddenly stopped in her tracks, and calmly asked to break up. My brain totally short-circuited. I couldn't even process what she just said. I desperately explained that I had just met her family, and none of them even objected to us. Hae-in broke down, shouting, "That is exactly the root of the problem. That's why I didn't want to drag you into this. It was supposed to be a warm, quiet family dinner. But instead, here you are, completely battered and bruised in front of me." She reached out, her fingers gently brushing over my torn suit. Her voice was trembling with heartache as she asked me, "You're just a normal guy. Why did you try to play hero back there? Didn't all of this happen because you got caught up with a family of heroes?" Crying, she told me that if we got married, dangerous things like this would just keep happening. "It's better if we just end it." But I stepped forward and pulled her into a tight hug. "It's okay," I whispered. "My only worry was whether you were hurt. I want to stay by your side forever. I want to protect you." Right there under the trees, I made a vow, begging her to let me stay by her side forever. She softly agreed. Meanwhile, I was breaking out in a massive cold sweat internally. I almost got dumped. "So, Kay, your sacrifice was totally worth it. You paved the way for our happiness. Plus, I played the perfect son-in-law in front of her family." My future mother-in-law even blushed and praised my sweet talk. Looks like I'm totally in the clear. But then, her family got curious. Since I was supposedly just a normal guy, how exactly did I put up such a good fight back there? I awkwardly scratched my head. I quickly explained that I didn't have any superpowers, I just worked out a lot. It was just an adrenaline rush from the panic. I told Hae-in. I only snapped and saw red because I heard the villains mention your name. "Wait a minute," Kim Il-hoon suddenly stopped me. "Right now, I still have to deal with him. If he brings up the wedding invitation, it's all over." Suddenly, Kim Il-hoon took a deep bow, apologizing for ever doubting me. I just stood there, completely bewildered. My glasses almost shattered from the shock. He patted me on the shoulder, explaining that he actually thought I was one of the villain's minions. My girlfriend peeked out from behind me, looking super confused, and asked what we were talking about. "I'm talking about this." Kim Il-hoon pulled out the wedding invitation. My girlfriend looked puzzled and asked, "Why do you have our wedding invitation?" He explained, "That the villain left it at the crime scene last time. He finally got it. Garam and Kim Hae-in had been targeted by the villain all along." He explained that the invitation was exactly why he mistook me for the villain's accomplice. I breathed a massive sigh of relief. Haha, I let out a dry, awkward laugh. I'm finally cleared of suspicion. Haha, but then, Kim Young-shik exploded with rage. He roared that the villain was declaring war on their family. Under the dark night sky, the executioners, they finally realized that the villain's next targets were the kids. My mother-in-law saw right through it all. She had been on high alert the second her daughter's information was leaked. She let out a heavy sigh, saying the villain's move this time was just way too bold. I just stared at her. Why the heck did my mother-in-law suddenly activate her powers? This woman is way too dangerous. I seriously need to watch my back around her. With a single command, Grandpa officially activated the family's elite standing army system. Everyone gathered together, striking their ultimate battle poses. The vibe was actually kind of epic. Yeah, but I was just standing there, completely dumbfounded. This whole family is completely unhinged. Then, Grandpa made a totally badass declaration. He swore that for our wedding, he would personally come out of retirement and capture the villain as our wedding gift. Holy crap, that is one hardcore wedding gift. Alright then, my mother-in-law jumped right in with an invitation, asking the two of us to move in with them so she could provide full, around-the-clock protection. I looked at this massive setup, feeling completely awkward and totally helpless. I told her straight up that this whole arrangement was a bit too extreme. When my girlfriend heard my hesitation about the family's standing army system, her eyes instantly lost their sparkle. She thought I just found her family to be a huge burden. She looked so heartbroken and sad. I felt so torn inside. Part of me was aching for my girlfriend, but the other part knew this involved my entire organization, and I absolutely couldn't back down. My mother-in-law said the wedding had to be postponed until the executioner was caught. In a total panic, I immediately agreed to move in. Kim Il-hoon was still warmly welcoming me to the family, while inside, I was screaming, why the hell did I just impulsively agree to this? Everyone laughed and tried to comfort me, saying it wasn't like I'd actually be living with my in-laws. It was just for protection. I could only force a stiff, fake smile and nod along, while cursing myself 1,000 times over in my head. Meanwhile, the scene cuts. Inside the villain's detention center, someone received a secret order. A key was tossed right into K's cell. Stuck behind bars, K was totally surprised to get this mysterious key. The guard whispered, telling him to unlock it and make a run for it. Since there were no cameras on him right now, K asked who the hell sent this key. Wow, so kind. Do you even need to ask? Guy used to be a terrifying villain boss who made people tremble in fear, killing without blinking an eye. But out of all the people in the world, he just had to fall in love with an ordinary civilian girl. When he arrived at her house, he actually found out her entire family consists of S-class heroes. And now, his future mother-in-law has invited him, the ultimate villain boss, to move right into their house. Just to protect her future son-in-law. In the end, he decided to move in anyway to scope out the situation. I played it cool, knowing I absolutely could not blow my cover. Inside my bag, the yellow-haired Kim was squirming around anxiously. I rang the doorbell, and my girlfriend, Kim Hae-in, came out to greet me. I told her how much I missed her, and she ushered me inside. Her whole family was waiting for me. They had prepared yet another massive feast in my honor. Well, that works out perfectly. I was starving anyway, and so, my master plan to infiltrate this hero family officially began. Her mom gushed over how absolutely adorable a dog like mine was. Of course he is, but just wait, you'll see what he's really capable of soon enough. The camera cuts, and we rewind to last Sunday, just a few days ago. Kay was scratching his head, wondering why their completely ruthless boss had been acting so incredibly weird lately. Alright, quit your whining, Kay. We are officially convening the executioner's executive meeting right now. Q crossed her arms, eager to hear what major news I had to drop. Even though she had run countless missions with me, she still couldn't read my mind at all. The reason I called you all here today is to announce that I'm getting married. Wait, what? Boss, where the hell did you even find a girl? How come I didn't know about this? Q immediately chimed in, asking me, is there any chance you'd marry me instead? Kay snapped back, hold up, lady. Are you completely out of your mind? What exactly would the boss see in you? Murderous intent flared up in Q's eyes as she told Kay to shut his filthy dog mouth. What's the matter, big sis? You wanna go right now? Alright, enough. Stop stealing the spotlight, you two. Knock it off. Sit your asses down. Yes, boss. Loud and clear, Lord Executioner. Only the ever cool-headed Jay actually congratulated me on my engagement. Though even he was curious about who the lucky lady was. When's the big day? Patience. I'll throw her picture up on the screen right now. The wedding is in exactly 8 months. Meet your future sister-in-law. Her name is Kim Hae-in. Q's romantic fantasies instantly shattered. Why couldn't it have been her? Boss, are you screwing with us right now? That's our literal enemy, the youngest daughter of the Kim family. Yes, I am well aware. That is exactly why I called this meeting. My future in-laws are none other than the legendary Kim family. They are literally one of the 5 founding families of the Hero Council. This completely unexpected encounter led me to make an absolutely unprecedented decision. Wait, isn't this our absolute best chance to wipe out those heroes? Kim Hae-in, you're the only true family I'll ever need. I won't be showing an ounce of mercy to anyone else. Whoa, that is so badass. So that was your master plan all along, boss. He was totally convinced that my upcoming wedding was nothing but bait to bring down the Kim family and wipe them out in one single strike. Looking at his smug, know-it-all face, I honestly didn't know whether to be annoyed or just laugh out loud. Anyway, I'll be walking right into the hero's headquarters as his future son-in-law. I'll enjoy their protection. This hunt will officially kick off right after the wedding. Everyone exchanged a knowing smile. A grand scheme is brewing right now, and the real slaughter won't start until the prey completely drops their guard. I absolutely cannot let anything go wrong before the wedding. Otherwise, how could Kim Hae-in ever marry me in peace? But, boss, Jay, our head of security, hesitated. He reported that someone from the Kim family had just shown up on our turf. He asked me if this was part of the plan. On the monitor, that guy in the blue tracksuit was making his way straight toward us. I froze. Wait, isn't that Kim Il-hoon? What the hell is he doing here? Right at that moment. Except, my phone rang at the worst possible time. On the other end, Kim Il-hoon was calling me, teasing me for actually working on a Sunday. He laughed, saying my company was a restricted zone, and that he came down specifically for a surprise inspection. He asked if I was free. I gripped my phone. A surprise inspection? Are you kidding me? Which idiot let him in? Over the phone, he gave a cheerful yep, and said he could already sense exactly where I was. Damn it, he found me that fast? You didn't even ask for my permission. Hey, don't open that door. I'm not ready yet. Grab. Are you in there, Garam? I'm coming in. Everyone, get in position. Don't just stand there. Garam, are you in here? Why can't I see you? Meanwhile, the Kim family took a sip of their coffee, still analyzing the possibility that I wasn't the executioner. Even though Kim Il-hoon had vouched for me, they still weren't completely convinced. Of course, they hadn't totally ruled out the possibility that I was the executioner either. Nod. You get what I'm saying? Kim Young-shik, nod. I get what you mean. Dad, they had decided to send Kim Il-hoon to test me again. To catch me completely off guard. Garam, where are you hiding? I can feel your presence. I'm right behind the door. Hey. Mouthing. Open the door gently, will you? Shake. This damn hero. I guess I'll just have to put up with you for a bit longer. I played the gracious host and invited him in. Funnily enough, he actually looked a little embarrassed. I took the chance to introduce him to our executives, J and Q. Under his mask, Jay was sweating bullets from nerves. His business card read, Marketing Director. Next up was our Planning Director. QQ smiled and said hello. His heart skipped a beat. He was completely mesmerized by her. Q reached out her hand, saying she saw him on the news all the time. I'm COA, the Planning Director. I'm Kim Il-hoon. It's a pleasure to meet you. Wow, you smell amazing. Wait, no, I mean. Hello, COA. COA told him he looked way better in person than on the news. He just blushed and grinned like an idiot, while I just stood there looking completely confused. Oh, I get it now. You're totally into this type, huh? He turned around looking puzzled, but instantly melted at the sight of him. Garam, I can't believe your company has such a cute pet. Actually, this was all Kay's doing. He can transform any part of his body into an animal he's touched before. Even though pretending to be a dog was a bit lazy, he suddenly scooped up the puppy. He looked shocked and asked if I really kept a pet in the office. Holding a squirming Kay in his arms, he happily asked me how long I've had him. I could only awkwardly push up my glasses. I didn't know what to say for a second, so I shot a look over to COA. She totally got the hint and nodded. COA then led us into the office. Once we were somewhere relatively safe, I put on a sad face. And made up a story about how the poor dog was abandoned right at our company's front door. Woof? He was totally shocked. He couldn't believe anyone would dump such an adorable little puppy. But, well, you know how it is. We can't just keep him at the office forever. I really wanted to take him home. Except, I'm living with Kim Hae-in right now, so I'm not sure if I can. He turned around to look at the others. He asked if anyone was allergic to dogs. The moment he said that, COA and Kay, who was still wearing his hood, jumped in panic. To keep up the lie, they both started aggressively sneezing and scratching themselves, acting like they absolutely couldn't take him. I kept the act going. It breaks my heart. I really wanted to keep him close. But now, I guess we'll just have to send the poor guy to a shelter. No way, you can't do that. How could anyone treat such a precious puppy like that? He suddenly jumped to his feet. He declared that he'd take the puppy himself. Swollen, just let me take him to my place. Without another word, he bolted right out the door to go ask his family if they could adopt him. I glanced over at Kay, who was sprawled on the couch. He timidly asked me what our next move was. You'll go home with him in this form and gather intel. While you're at it, set the stage for our little surprise. The second the wedding is over, I'm gonna wipe the floor with them. Kay instantly got fired up. You got it, boss. Consider it done. He was already picturing it. He'd use his irresistible charm to completely win over the Jin family. And then, we'd take them all down in one swoop. I scooped him up in my hands. And looked at him dead in the eye. I'm leaving this to you. Wag wag, wag. He excitedly wagged his little tail. Just then, Kim Il-hoon came bursting back into the room, screaming my name. He excitedly announced that his whole family was on board. Perfect. That meant our plan could finally go off without a hitch. A little later, he was walking down the street, calling his family to let them know he was safe. He told them everything was going great, and that there was nothing suspicious at my company. Everything was completely normal. Watching him walk away, I let out a cold little smirk. What an idiot, I muttered under my breath. I could barely hide my dark intentions anymore. The second that wedding ends, I'm going to make them pay. Right now, Kay and I have officially moved into the Kim family estate. Sooner or later, they're going to completely regret making this decision. They'll deeply regret inviting someone as dangerous as me into their home. The Kim family warmly called me over for dinner. Wait a minute, why does this smell so incredibly good? I honestly had no idea they had this kind of skill in the kitchen. Hae-in told me to sit right next to her. Pat. She made some room for me. Sure thing, baby, whatever you say, but, let's just put the plan on hold for a second. I'm absolutely starving, but, just as I was about to dig in, the Kim family stopped me, saying they had prepared a very special surprise for me. My heart instantly dropped. I stared at the projector sitting right in front of me. I had no idea what they were about to play. Turns out, they were actually holding a trivia quiz right at the dinner table. As the future son-in-law, my face was just covered in question marks. If I got it wrong, I wouldn't get a single bite of food. The old man declared that this was knowledge only true heroes would know. The service bell was sitting right by my hand. He told me to just ring it once I had the answer. My girlfriend chimed in, saying this was exactly why. She made me come on an empty stomach. The very first question was, when trying to find a superhero's weakness, what is the absolute first thing you should evaluate? Suddenly, someone slammed the bell. Me. Oh, I know this one. Ilhoon was just about to answer, but Heian quickly slapped her hand over his mouth. She insisted that I, Garam, should be the one to answer. She really wanted me to show off a little. I tightly clenched my fists, and confidently threw out my answer. To exploit their social vulnerabilities. Wait, social vulnerabilities, you ask? Heian looked completely baffled. So, I explained it to her, dead serious. No matter how incredibly strong those with powers are, they are still entirely bound by human nature. They might hold massive power, but they are still firmly trapped by our laws and societal rules. And heroes especially, their precious honor and public opinion? That is their absolute most fatal soft spot. I emphasized every single word, firmly locking in my answer as social vulnerabilities. Even the old man was totally stunned by what I said. For a moment, he couldn't even find the words to argue back. But then, he firmly brought the hammer down. He flat out told me my answer was totally wrong. Heian then raised his hand and blurted out the real answer. It's their abilities' activation conditions. Turns out I completely missed the most basic logic. Every single person with powers has specific trigger conditions. If they don't meet them, it triggers a harsh penalty. Of course, that penalty is totally different for everyone, but I completely pushed back against that idea. Growl, if I am truly powerful enough. Growl, how could some silly condition ever hold me back? Heian sweetly told me that it didn't matter if I got it wrong, we were still going to get fed. But I stayed stubborn, crossing my arms and claiming I wasn't even the slightest bit hungry. The old man, however, actually appreciated my completely twisted answer, even if it was totally wrong. Rummage. He casually handed me a watch as a little reward. By just pressing and holding the middle button on this watch, tap, it instantly summons a protective power and calls for backup. The second you press it, a glowing protective barrier wraps right around you. Turns out, Heian was the one who actually made it. He literally infused his own protective powers right into it. I genuinely thanked him for it. With this little watch, I could completely avoid any sudden villain attacks. But Heian still firmly warned me not to let my guard down. I hurriedly nodded in agreement. Then, the old man loudly announced the start of the next question. But that specific question completely stopped me in my tracks. It was all about whether the hero sponsorship system was fundamentally right or wrong. Hearing that, my mind instantly drifted way back into the past. Back to when I was just a little kid. A glowing woman stepping out of the light gently asked me if I wanted to become a hero. But honestly, my heart already knew the exact answer. But I didn't say a word. I just didn't know. I chose to lie, choking the words back down my throat. Kim Heian raised her hand to ask for a break, dragging me out to get some ice cream. She completely saved me from that awkward mess. The sun outside was blindingly bright, but the burning hatred inside me hadn't faded one bit. Those so-called heroes, I wasn't going to let a single one of them off the hook. I wanted to utterly destroy every last hero. I despised them. Beside me, Kim Heian called out my name, snapping me right out of my dark thoughts. She sensed that this whole trivia game just to win food had left me feeling pretty defeated. But everyone is trying their absolute best, right? We all just really want you to be part of the family. I told her there was absolutely no need to apologize. I was just really grateful everyone was being so incredibly warm to me. Kim Heian slipped away, joking that getting out of there was a total relief. She told me to take my time, to just take a walk and clear my head, and that she'd run ahead to drop off the ice cream. Watch your step, I called out. Maybe Kim Heian really was worried about me. She always seemed to know exactly how I felt. I stood there, staring up at the hero family's energy barrier. I wondered how long that thing had even been there. Who knows, maybe, just maybe, there was a little crack in it somewhere. Hey. Meanwhile, Heian hummed a tune as she strolled back, completely oblivious to the terrible danger creeping up right behind her. Suddenly, a low, menacing rumble echoed behind her, as a massive dark shadow loomed over her back. I actually did it. I finally found a tiny breach hidden in a corner. Hard work really does pay off. I grabbed my hair in sheer disbelief. It all made sense now. I was just messing around looking for a weakness. I never expected to actually stumble right into one. I scoffed at the so-called hero family's security. What an absolute joke. To leave a massive loophole like this? Ha ha ha, the heavens are finally on my side. Doesn't that mean I can do whatever the hell I want? I can take them all down, right now. I can finally be done with these unbearable in-laws, and their stupid, pathetic little games. I was so sick of it all. But then, I suddenly snapped to high alert. Someone was standing right next to me. It was my father-in-law, grabbing my arm. He asked what the hell I was laughing at. Oh, nothing. I lied, saying I just remembered something funny. He told me the second round of trivia was starting, and rushed me to get back. I smiled and said okay, but inside, I was absolutely dreading it. I cursed him out in my head. You're the one who cooked this stupid meal in the first place. This is all entirely on you. Just you wait, I will get my revenge. But when I heard him call me his future son-in-law, I answered on pure reflex. Suddenly, he slapped me hard on the shoulder. God, why did that hurt so much? He kept patting me, saying it was all just a game. Don't get mad, and hey, don't get so bummed out if you get a question wrong. That's when I saw it on the ground nearby. The bag of ice cream Kim Hae-in had been carrying. I knew for a fact that was her bag. Why would it be dropped here? Oh god, don't tell me. I took off sprinting, frantically searching for Kim Hae-in. Was that breach in the barrier made by an intruder? Have they already made their move? But the only people crazy enough to actually challenge these heroes should just be us, right? Suddenly, a robot in the sky opened fire. The energy barrier exploded with massive, glowing cracks. The robot's gaze locked right onto my position, and slung over its cold metal shoulder was an unconscious Kim Hae-in. You piece of junk. I don't care where the hell you came from. You're about to get scrapped right now. Its mechanical eyes glowed with a harsh green light. It was gearing up to attack me, too. I yelled at the robot to drop the woman on its shoulder. Leave the innocent out of this. I was absolutely burning with rage. I desperately needed to let it all out, but I couldn't use my powers, or else my identity would be blown. But, to hell with it. I didn't care anymore. How dare it lay a hand on Kim Hae-in? There is no way I'm letting you walk away from this. I just froze. My powers, they completely failed? The mechanical arm let out another ear-piercing screech of grinding metal. Its weapon systems were fully online. The heavy hum of high-energy weapons charged up. Great, now it just looks like I'm marching straight to my death. I couldn't do a damn thing. Forget saving her, right now. Just keeping myself alive was an issue. A massive shockwave hit, but my father-in-law stepped in and took the blast for me. He yelled at me to quickly find cover, and to leave the rest of this mess to him. That was the very first time I'd ever seen him look so dead serious. Just how strong is he, anyway? Phew, I was this close to blowing my cover back there. Thank God I didn't. Wait, why hasn't he transformed or used his powers yet? Is he seriously going into a fight like this? He looked just as confused as I was. For some reason, he couldn't activate his powers to transform either. Click. Man, this whole situation is way too messed up. Right at that moment, the giant mechanical arm raised up again. Its cannon locked dead onto us. Cold sweat started pouring down my back. I screamed at him to take cover. There was no way in hell we could survive a direct hit from that. But Kim Young-shik didn't budge an inch. Golden sparks began crackling furiously around his fists. He dropped into a fighting stance, and growled in a low voice. If a man can't even protect his own daughter, what kind of father is he? Whoa, is this that legendary aura? The kind that only true heroes have? He launched himself high into the air, charging up for an absolutely massive, earth-shattering strike. But then, it got kind of comical. Yeah, I totally got my hopes up for nothing. Isn't that just an empty bluff? Wait, no, there's no way an S-class hero like him goes down that easily. He's definitely gonna get right back up. Getting back into the fight, Kim Young-shik spat, is that seriously all you've got? But man, he was losing a lot of blood. Relying on him was starting to look like a bad idea. I glanced over. If this keeps up, Kim Hae-in is going to be in serious danger. Looks like I have no choice but to use you. My smartwatch. This isn't over yet. In fact, we're just getting started. I yelled at my father-in-law to get the hell out of the way. I bolted forward. My legs were moving like absolute lightning. I slammed my entire body right into the robot. The massive impact instantly sent that hunk of metal flying through the air. Kim Young-shik was frantic and completely at a loss, immediately shouting at me. But I could see the sheer panic in his eyes. Meanwhile, that stupid robot didn't even have a scratch on it. And now, it was charging up another shockwave. My SOS signal had finally gone through, though. But I was seriously starting to wonder, why the hell wasn't there any sign of backup arriving? I dropped my protective shield. So, I figured, why not risk it all on one crazy gamble? Why did it suddenly feel like this was how I was supposed to use my powers? Right at that moment, Kim Hae-in snapped out of her unconsciousness. She furiously slammed her elbow down, landing a perfect hit right on the robot's power switch. She broke free from its grip, but started free falling helplessly out of the sky. The very next second, I caught her securely in my arms. I asked if she was hurt. Behind us, the robot let out a massive crash, then completely shut down, just like a deflated toy. Man, wearing this helmet is way too stuffy. Piloting this entire mech suit is kind of exhausting. Garam, what you just did was way too dangerous. Kim Hae-in warned me. Kim Hae-in slipped right out of my arms. I was still wondering what she was up to, when she marched right over to her older brother, Kim Hae-in. Fuming with absolute rage, we have to watch out for the executioner. And now we have to watch out for you too? Are you out of your freaking mind? I tried to comfort Kim Hae-in, but right now, she was just completely furious. You said it was just a simple test. You went way too far this time. The others outside were scared, totally speechless. Even Kay looked completely baffled. We already infiltrated this place, and there's actually still a test. I need to ask the boss what's going on. I crouched down, picked up the little dog, Kim, and told him our plan hadn't been exposed. Hop. Okay, boss. That's a relief. But, I said, I have no idea what this test is about either. I was kept completely in the dark too. I looked up at everyone, asking if someone could please explain what on earth just happened. The scene shifted back to the day Kim Il-hoon visited my company. He insisted that I was just an ordinary civilian who happened to be in slightly better shape. Nothing special at all, but the old man, he didn't see it that way. They decided to properly teach me what an ordinary person in the Kim family should act like. It suddenly dawned on me. So this trivia quiz test actually had both a theoretical and a practical version. Kim Young-shik explained, saying they never intended to blow things out of proportion like this. Normally, when the protective shield breaks and an enemy invades, you're supposed to run away and let the heroes handle it. But you actually tried to attack with the barrier, and then you turned it off. Of course, we also owe you an apology. We took the joke a bit too far. Kim Hae-yeon blamed himself, saying he only wanted to make it look more realistic, and that it was all his fault. He asked me in sheer disbelief, how did I even figure out it was him? I told him, long before the alarm was even pressed. I already felt something was off. The backyard was in absolute chaos. Yet there wasn't a single hero in sight. The moment I saw that villain robot, I instantly thought of you, the head of the research department at the Hero Association. And the most crucial piece of evidence was that he kidnapped Kim Hae-in, but didn't make a single demand. That completely defies villain logic. I chuckled and said, this whole charade was full of holes from the very beginning. The old man praised me, saying that even though I was an ordinary person, my reflexes were fast and I was incredibly brave. I scratched my head, laughing awkwardly, while secretly freaking out inside. Is he actually praising me, or is he testing me? He didn't beat around the bush. He flat out said that I clearly had talents far beyond an ordinary person. My brain practically short-circuited. He asked if I still remembered the previous question about the hero sponsorship program. The old man mentioned there was also a freelancer support system, and that now, he was planning to launch a brand new civilian cultivation project. I was pondering what any of this had to do with me, when it suddenly hit me. It turns out he's an HR representative for the Hero Association. Finally, he threw me an offer. Do you want to become a hero? But I'm actually the villain boss, disguised as a normal civilian. For a second there, I honestly thought the old guy was losing his mind. My girlfriend was against me becoming some hero who fights all day long, but he just smiled and waved his hand. He said that sure, there had never been a civilian hero before, but he believed that normal people could become heroes, too. In today's world, only those with superpowers are deemed worthy of being called heroes. But those who pull others out of hellish situations, those who protect the weak without a second thought, they deserve to be called heroes, too. Especially you, Garam, that pure determination of yours to save people. He said he'd been moved by the burning passion of countless ordinary folks just like me. Kim Il-hoon chimed in, wait, aren't you already a hero? You just can't keep your mouth shut, can you? I'm sorry, please stop hitting me. He brought up how his granddaughter used to dream of being a hero, too. The old man said he saw true potential in me. His smile was full of absolute certainty. Finally, he asked if I'd be willing to join. My girlfriend looked at me. Her face was totally blank, but her eyes were a mix of complicated feelings and deep worry. Well, I wanted to say, I really don't have what it takes to be a hero. I'm sorry, to be honest, I don't feel the need to protect everyone. I only want to protect one person. My girlfriend's gaze softened as she looked at me. If I can just keep Kim Hae-in safe, then that's more than enough for me. The old man let out a heavy sigh, unable to hide his disappointment. He honestly thought I was just some responsible, everyday citizen. I guess my acting was just too good. Breaking in, Kim Il-hoon said, wait, didn't Kim Young-shik and Kim Hae-yeon do all of this? Why are you trying to steal all the credit? Uncle? Kim Hae-yeon mentioned that just to make things look more realistic, he even shattered the protective barrier. He said he was going to go fix the barrier right now. Without even thinking, I blurted out, don't fix it. I needed to change the subject, fast. Kim Hae-yeon just stared at me, looking totally confused. He had no idea why I reacted like that. I stammered, awkwardly asking him if he was the one who disabled Kim Young-shik's powers just now. He admitted to it, but quickly added that it was just a prototype test, and the effect only lasted for a few minutes. Off to the side, Kim Young-shik was still acting tough, bragging that he could have taken him down in a single move. Come on, Dad, you got totally wrecked. I don't even want to roast you right now. Thinking to myself, my mind was racing at 1,000,000 miles an hour. An invention that can actually neutralize superpowers. I have to admit, that kind of tech is incredibly tempting. But I also know all too well just how unbelievably dangerous it is. My girlfriend gently nudged me, suggesting we head upstairs to get some rest. I agreed, a small smile unconsciously creeping onto my face. Later that night in our room, we talked about our silly childhood dreams of becoming heroes. Down in the living room, Kim Il-hoon was still loudly complaining about the old man crossing the line. Late that night, I waved goodbye to Kim Hae-in. We said our good nights, and I gently closed the door. Phew, alright, let's get started. I lowered my voice and told Kay to give me today's report. Any leads? He began his report. The operation was a total success. We managed to secure the core data from Kim Hae-yun's invention. Unfortunately, the barrier has already started repairing itself. The loophole we could have exploited is completely gone. I casually cut him off. Speaking of which, I actually have something for you. I dug into my pocket. Here's a fragment of the barrier. It should come in handy. He took the fragment with both hands, his eyes wide with absolute shock. I told him to hand it over to Jay for analysis. Good thing I just so happened to pick one up on my way out. He excitedly praised me. With this, breaking through their barrier was only a matter of time. This is the beginning of their downfall. Let's tear down the reign of the heroes, K. In the dead of night, only my wicked, exhilarated laughter echoed through the air. Meanwhile, the old man was leaning back against the sofa. Deep in thought, he let out a heavy sigh. What a shame. I really thought I had finally found a solid prospect. He turned around and asked the person standing behind him. Was I right about him? The old man asked, speaking as the direct superior of the chief evaluator. He needed to know. Just what kind of man was his future grandson-in-law, really? The evaluator admitted quite frankly that he didn't understand why the old man wanted to train an ordinary guy. But his courage, as well as his physical condition, are both quite remarkable, stated Lee Yun, the chief evaluator of the Hero Council. He wanted to keep observing the young man a bit longer. The old man just chuckled. So, the evaluator was planning to continue his assessment after all. The old man's goal had been achieved. I say, why don't you just go ahead and grant him a hero title? Come on, as a favor to me. Lee Yun bluntly refused. The old man stood up and meaningfully stated that I was very close to his ideal type. This was Lee Yun's first time evaluating an ordinary person, but he promised to do his best. Meanwhile, I was still joking around, completely oblivious to the fact that I had just become a prime target for observation. Kim Il-hoon hid in the back, quietly wondering if I actually had the potential to become a hero. The very next day, I went back to the office and clocked in for work as usual. But Kim Il-hoon was dead serious. He insisted on sticking to me like glue, refusing to leave my side for even a second. I was so incredibly annoyed. Why the hell was he acting like such a clingy parasite? Do I not get any personal privacy around here? I quietly reminded myself to keep a low profile and just get through this totally normal, average day. I already told everyone to switch to office mode, so we shouldn't run into any issues, right? Welcome, boss. And welcome, Mr. Kim Il-hoon. Please, come right in. Kim Il-hoon jumped in surprise. Wow, this is super formal. What the hell is this, man? What are you guys trying to pull? GRIT wasn't like this before, was it? Kay awkwardly stammered, trying to explain that this was just their standard operating procedure. But it's been forever since we used office mode, so I probably just forgot about it. Kim Il-hoon and I stood shoulder to shoulder, leaning against the glass window. The sheer awkwardness in the room was so thick you could cut it with a knife. I took a slow sip of my coffee. Suddenly, he called out my name. His voice carried a faint trace of hesitation and uncertainty. He finally couldn't hold it in anymore and spoke up. When asked if having employees line up and bow was a company rule, I panicked, waving my hands to deny it. I made up an excuse, saying they just wanted to leave a good impression in front of a hero. My mind was filled with her disappointed expression. I was so scared she'd think I was a terrible boss. Kim Il-hoon just burst out laughing at that, smoothing things over by saying heroes deserve to be respected anyway. I just awkwardly laughed and nodded along, but inside, I was sweating bullets. Reminded him that I'm just an ordinary citizen. I'm no hero at all. He pointed at me dead serious, stressing that even though I'm a civilian right now, if he were scoring me as a hero, he'd deduct 3 points just for saying that. I was so confused. I had absolutely no idea what he meant by this whole point deduction thing. Kim Il-hoon pumped his fist and swore he'd do everything in his power to stop that guy from becoming a hero. He was totally fired up, nagging me non-stop about staying away from danger. Honestly, all I wanted was to get rid of him. Suddenly, there was a knock on the office door. COA walked in and handed me a document that needed signing. Kim Il-hoon's face instantly turned red. He was completely flustered by COA showing up. I thought to myself, great, maybe now I can finally get this guy off my back. I took the file, and my eyes immediately caught a yellow sticky note. It read, pending issues regarding B. The moment I saw that note, memories of how I personally destroyed B came rushing back. COA then informed me that I needed to personally attend an off-site meeting today. Wait, is it seriously about B? Interesting. Kim Il-hoon immediately chimed in, saying he wanted to tag along. I panicked. Wait, no, do you really think you just live here now? But COA warmly called out to him. She told him she was already a huge fan, and asked if he was free to grab a coffee later. No way, I have to go to work right now. Damn it, work on what? You don't even have a job here. Even I was stunned. Did this kid really just resist her charm? He insisted he needed to stay by my side, and evaluate me while he was at it. Suddenly, he went on high alert. Oh no, watch out, Garam. Ow, my old back. What the heck are you doing? Ah, Kim Il-hoon. He locked onto a sniper's position. A green light flashed in his eyes. But wait, that wasn't a sniper. There was no one there at all. Well, this was getting awkward for him. Kim Il-hoon, are you trying to play the big hero? Is your bravado meter so maxed out that you need to release it? Kim Il-hoon could only awkwardly laugh it off. He mumbled something about a reflection from the building across the street causing a misunderstanding. The wind on the rooftop fluttered our clothes. Meanwhile, Li Yan was hiding in the corner of that opposite building. That was close. I was almost caught. Back to me. This so-called hero stopped me in my tracks. Then he snatched my meeting files right out of my hands. He actually had the nerve to say there might be a razor blade hidden inside that could cut my hands. And because of my carelessness, he decided to deduct 2 points from my hero score. After that, I tried to have the staff crowd out this annoying hero, but he stopped me again. Just because I walked away from him, he decided to deduct another point. Why is this jerk acting like a literal fly? I seriously need to tell him to get lost. I walked up to him. He looked at me and said that based on his recent observations, I was completely blind to danger, and that was a massive problem. So, he actually came to the conclusion that I don't have a single heroic bone in my body. Fine, didn't I already tell him I have zero interest in playing the hero? Are you deaf? I literally just asked when this annoying ass evaluation is going to end. I have absolutely had it. First of all, you're constantly barging in. Interrupting our meetings is bad enough, but your crazy fans are constantly blocking the entrance to our building. It's seriously disrupting our work. So maybe, it's time you get the hell out of my company. You need to learn some boundaries. Don't you think? Kim Il-hoon finally realized how badly he had messed up, and just awkwardly scratched his head. I pushed up my glasses. If you're genuinely sorry about this, then get out, right now, and stop getting in my way. Back in the meeting room, I kept ranting out of sheer frustration about that clingy idiot I just couldn't shake off. I let out a heavy sigh. Even the fake fans I set up earlier could install him. My assistant tried to calm me down, assuring me the room was completely soundproof. There's no need to worry about him hearing us, he said. I took a deep breath to steady myself. I signaled for him to move on to our actual agenda. Suddenly, on the projector screen, the profile of the former #1 villain popped up. The file detailed his right-hand man, the guy who could teleport. The footage on the screen then cut to 4 in the afternoon. A highly dangerous transaction was about to go down. My assistant then mentioned that someone was secretly backing the washed-up villain's crew. The exact moment I heard that name, my pupils shrank. I couldn't help but smirk, letting out a dark little smile. I decided right then and there to get my own hands dirty in this mess. But the real problem was, what do we do about Kim Il-hoon? The guy is like a leech. Meanwhile, right outside the door, the clueless Kim Il-hoon had no idea he was being completely roasted. Suddenly, a thought popped into his head. He should totally grab some seafood for dinner tonight. It had been way too long. Just then, the soft clinking of a tray echoed down the hallway. He looked up, locking eyes with Xiao, who was carrying some tea and snacks. He instantly froze up. Xiao offered him a cup of tea, saying, "Escorting garum all the time must be exhausting, huh?" Kim Il-hoon frantically waved his hands in refusal, his cheeks burning up uncontrollably. In response, Xiao put on a pitiful, pouty face. "Did I do something to make you uncomfortable?" she asked. Kim Il-hoon was completely panicking now. No, not at all. He stammered, "I'm just, working, that's all." "Alright then, you're so sweet." He stared at her delicate hand reaching out towards him, sweating bullets from the sheer awkwardness. "You really are a model hero, Kim Il-hoon. I think I'm starting to like you more and more." Thanks for the compliment." But suddenly, it hit him. Sensing that something was completely off, Kim Il-hoon shoved the heavy doors wide open. He burst into the room, only to find the seats completely empty. Garum was actually gone. Kim Il-hoon rushed over to the glass window and stared down at the street below. A white sedan down there was already speeding away from the company building. Nice. Tad finally shook off that clingy pest. That took way too much effort. Back up there, Kim Il-hoon was screaming my name out the window. His voice was completely laced with panic. From behind him, Xiao chimed in, "The boss just stepped out for business." "It's totally normal. The meeting room has a private elevator strictly for executive use. She probably just took the elevator down," Xiao said, quietly observing Kim Il-hoon's frantic reaction. "I've got a really bad feeling about this. Woohoo, finally, I can get some real work done. Let's see where it is." The very next second, Kim Il-hoon smashed right through the window. He took a flying leap, desperate just to catch up to my car. "Stay away from me, you psycho. Please, don't run away, Garum. I'm coming. Wait for me to get in. Hey, I'm going to work too." He slammed heavily onto the hood of my car. He totally wrecked the pavement. Is this really something a hero should be doing? Hee, where do you think you're going, Garum? Even though I sound like I'm hunting down a villain. Get lost. Kim Il-hoon, you've completely ruined all my plans now. He yanked the car door open, reminding me not to forget about him, my bodyguard. I laughed and said I had completely forgotten about that. He pointed out it's only been a few days. So it's totally understandable. In the end, I could only helplessly start the car and set off with this idiot in tow. I was so incredibly annoyed, I just wanted to shake off this annoying little shadow. There was a drone tracking us in the sky. I figured Jay must have sent it. I called out to him. Hey, let's have a little heart-to-heart. Do you have feelings for Xiaoa? Your reactions to her seem pretty unusual. He asked me what on earth I was talking about. I told him I meant exactly what I said. Kim Il-hoon hastily replied that he doesn't discuss romance during working hours. But I already realized that maybe the honey trap was actually working. But I feel like you've been using this whole hero evaluation thing as an excuse. Just to come to my company and see Xiaoa every single day, huh? Hee, how is that even possible? I'm a total gentleman. Hey. He asked if I knew what a hero evaluator was. I told him I actually knew a bit about them. As far as I know, these people don't just evaluate rookies. Even active heroes can't escape their scrutiny. Anyone who fails gets immediately disqualified. The eliminated heroes have absolutely no power to fight back. And these people are the true shot callers behind the Hero Association. Turns out, Kim Il-hoon had wanted to school me on this. He didn't expect me to know so much. He told me I was already being targeted by the chief hero evaluator. I was completely shocked. Could it be that the other day, when the old man invited me to become a hero, he had already planned to do this all along? Didn't I already tell you I don't want to be a hero? Aren't you just forcing trouble on me? Kim Il-hoon knew I didn't want to be a hero, that I just wanted to be a regular civilian. That's exactly why he was making such a huge fuss, just to find more excuses to dock my points. He had already tried his best to convince the council, saying I wasn't suited to be a hero at all. Hearing that actually made me feel a little grateful to him. He hoped that both Kim Hae-in and I would just stay civilians. He promised he would make that vision a reality. I couldn't help but let a smile curl on my lips. I thanked him for everything he had done recently. The GPS chimed, telling us to turn right. The car drove into an unfamiliar container yard. I told him we'd reach our destination very soon. Secretly, I felt a pang of regret that it was all too late. Once we got out of the car, he was still foolishly asking, "Where's the meeting taking place? Why aren't there many people around?" Kim Il-hoon looked around at the deserted wasteland. It didn't look like a place for a business meeting at all. Suddenly, he spotted a group of figures in the distance. While a secret deal was going down in the shadows, Kim Il-hoon noticed the logo on the wooden crates, sensing a bizarre vibe all around us. I told him we might have come to the wrong spot. The GPS must be glitching. Get in the car, quick. But right then, someone hiding in the dark had already locked their eyes on us. Villain Y recognized our hero committee uniforms, and ordered his men to attack. Everyone raised their weapons, aiming straight at Kim Il-hoon. A storm of bullets rained down. But in an instant, a wave of green energy burst forth. The protective shield caught every single bullet, leaving Kim Il-hoon completely unharmed. Guess it's my turn to hit back. He roared. All the bullets ricocheted right back. Looking at his men wiped out on the ground, Villain Y actually looked pretty surprised. Oh, I remember you. What was your name again? Ah, right. You're Kim Il-hoon, that idiot hero. Watching all this unfold from a distance, I thought, this is perfect. This is exactly how I wanted things to play out. Right now, they're nothing but creak, just puppets on my strings, tearing each other apart. And with that, I sped off in the car. As long as I don't get hurt, you guys can beat the hell out of each other for all I care. Plan B activated. Y told his opponent to stay focused. The fight was on. Green energy gathered at Kim Il-hoon's fingertips. A massive shockwave erupted, but Y instantly teleported right behind him. I remember the resistance movement 8 years ago. You were just a rookie back then. You couldn't save a damn thing. His weapon crashed into the barrier. Kim Il-hoon rubbed the back of his neck. That little teleportation trick of yours isn't exactly versatile, is it? Y took a direct hit from the energy wave. He leapt up onto a shipping container, trying to put some distance between them and wait for an opening. Every power has its limits. And aside from teleporting yourself, you can't do anything else, right? Y admitted the hero had him figured out pretty well. However, without that watch, how exactly are you going to deal with me? Cracks began to spread across the watch. Y's fist was already inches from his face. Without the watch, Kim Il-hoon lost all ability to defend himself. Y burst into manic laughter. He was going to kill him with his own hands, to fulfill Z's dying wish. Y was the one who inherited Z's terrifying will and legacy. But after Z was defeated, he got locked up in prison. He just couldn't believe it. How could another villain possibly be strong enough to defeat the Z he had served so fiercely? Back then, he questioned his own beliefs, and was completely baffled by me, the executioner. That was when the guard outside the iron cell called out to him. A man smoking a cigarette told him he was going to give him a second chance. He offered Y a chance to unleash Z's forgotten rage. Now, it was time to wipe out even more heroes. He threw Kim Il-hoon to the ground, scoffing at how insanely easy this all was. He was dead certain Kim Il-hoon was a goner. It only takes 9 seconds to choke a man out. This was going to be his new beginning. That glorious new era belonging to Z was finally arriving. Is that so? Why? Because I don't see it that way. Blinding green light exploded from his palm. You little punk, you're still alive? Looks like I'll just have to beat you all over again, Kim Il-hoon said. C is already history. What are you villains even plotting? But hey, since I've already caught you, you're going to do a lot of explaining. I am not the same fool I used to be. I became the head of security for the Kim family 4 years ago. I've awakened new powers, and even got a new alias. They call me Thermal Current, Kim Il-hoon. Now shut your damn mouth. I'm going to kill you right here. A blinding green light exploded across Y's body. He didn't even have a split second to react. Kim Il-hoon pinned Y hard under his foot. Could you at least let me finish talking before you attack? Right after, Kim Il-hoon pulled out his phone, ready to call for backup. To come and arrest this escaped villain. But Y knew deep down he couldn't just go down here. He still had unfinished business. On the phone, Kim Il-hoon mentioned that Garam, the girl he was protecting, was just a civilian. Wait, is that his niece's fiancé? A quote-unquote, civilian son-in-law? Well, that makes things easy. When Kim Il-hoon turned back around, he realized Y had teleported away from the floor. He vanished without a trace. And right now, he had teleported straight into my car, grinning from ear to ear, and I was completely oblivious. I asked if the hero evaluator tailing me had been dealt with. Jay replied that it was already handled. We had no one on our tail anymore. You reported that not too far from where Y's crew was making their deal, there was another armed squad hiding out in a warehouse. I was heading exactly in that direction. Attacking Y as Plan B was just a smokescreen. I had a completely different goal in mind. What truly mattered now was the mastermind pulling the strings. Currently, there are 3 candidates for the legendary hero title. Their combat power ranks in the top 3. And my real target is hiding among those 3. I know someone has been secretly breaking villains out of prison. I am sorry, but the clues look like they've been deliberately wiped clean. Even Jay couldn't dig up how Y got released. On top of that, I didn't even do anything to K. Yet he still walked right out of that prison without a scratch. It wasn't until we pulled up the security footage that we suddenly realized that this prison guard had been working for the strongest hero candidate all along. Now that I've finally shaken off Kim Il-hoon, the next step is to head straight into that hypocritical hero's territory. Meanwhile, Y is still sitting in the backseat, laughing at me, thinking I'm just some completely defenseless civilian. With that, he reached out to grab me as a hostage. Y, I noticed you the second you got in. Just who the hell do you think you're dealing with? Y looked completely confused. Something doesn't feel right. The very next second, the car window shattered instantly. Stop wasting my damn time, would you? Y? Since Kim Il-hoon is your opponent, be a good boy and go fight him. You piece of trash, you got my car all dirty. You are going to regret this. I'll make you pay for that right now. Y suddenly realized I was the executioner himself. He immediately started foaming at the mouth. He instantly went into play dead mode, his brain completely short-circuiting. I threw him off in absolute disgust. This whole farce is just a massive waste of time. I asked Jay if that clingy pest was still chasing after us. Just as I expected, Kim Il-hoon was rushing straight toward our direction. Then go take good care of him, will you? Keep him out of my hair. Smirks. Jay agreed without hesitation. Smirks. Kim Il-hoon sprinted with all his might. With only one thought in his mind, he absolutely could not let Y hurt me. The scene cuts back to 8 years ago. Back then, all he could do was watch helplessly as the stretcher was wheeled away. The hospital corridor was completely empty. He was the only one left standing there, looking like every ounce of his strength had been drained away. Kim Il-hoon refused to make the same mistake twice. He fired up his air jets, launching himself high into the air. That's when he spotted my car, parked on the side of the road, completely motionless. He touched down right next to it, sprinting toward the wrecked vehicle. Little did he know, danger was already closing in. A drone was hovering quietly in mid-air. Machine gun fire rained down from above. Meanwhile, villain Y was still completely lost in his sweet dream of being the perfect, quote-unquote, loyal soldier. Everything seemed just fine. Smack. I slapped him awake. He clutched his burning cheek. Sting. Furious and completely caught off guard, he hadn't even processed what the hell just happened. Who told you to go to sleep, you punk? Listen up, Y. Let's get down to business. From now on, you work for me. And no, you don't get to say no. Yes, sir. Wait, why does this feel so weird? I told him to keep his head down and follow my lead, or else I'd end his life right then and there. Meanwhile, inside an abandoned warehouse, a blonde man was casually playing with a glowing magical artifact. The fiery light danced across the side of his face as his fingertips gently brushed the magic. He muttered softly, "It's time to wrap this up. It's just a little more tedious than I expected." This hero was none other than Choi Young-moon of the Choi family, also known as the Magician. I dragged the villain into the woods to make him do my dirty work. But before that, I had a few questions. I demanded to know exactly how he managed to escape prison and find his way here. He also recognized me as the ultimate villain boss, the executioner himself. Yet, he still had the nerve to call me his enemy. Do you really think I'd tell you? Well, of course I will, boss. But I can't tell you my real name. Sniffle. He had cried his eyes out in that cell, where even a glimpse of sunlight was an absolute luxury. That was, until a mysterious figure appeared, giving him the perfect chance to escape. Alright, get straight to the point. And stop using those ridiculous pink speech bubbles. I absolutely hate pink. He continued his story. The moment he stepped out of prison, everything felt completely alien. Bustle. It had been 8 long years. And the city had changed so much he couldn't even recognize it. He stared at the voting billboards on the streets, plastered entirely with the faces of those so-called heroes. It filled him with pure, boiling rage. The streets in his memory were supposed to be rivers of blood. But now, even a pathetic little thief was running wild. Arg, how could a complete nobody dare to just casually rob people on the street? And the heroes these days? They looked completely pathetic. This idiot unlocked some flashy, glowing superpower, ability, and actually thought he was totally invincible, emitting this blinding light on the street, practically demanding the whole world bow down to his glorious radiance. Watching this hero act like an absolute clown, Y was so furious he was literally grinding his teeth to dust. Back when Aol was around, trash like this wouldn't dare show their faces on the street. Are you saying I'm not as intimidating as Aol used to be? Y quickly stammered out an excuse. At the time, Y had secretly pulled out his pocket knife, wanting to teach them a harsh lesson. If no one else is going to clean up this broken world, I'll wipe out these scumbags myself. But just as he was about to strike, Choi Young-moon suddenly popped out of nowhere. It scared the living hell out of him. Choi Young-moon was holding that ridiculous glowing gadget, laughing, claiming that this was all just part of his big performance. And just like that, the thief rode off on his bike right under our noses. But little did the thief know, he was already trapped in an illusion. Suddenly, a bottomless pit appeared right in front of him. He slammed hard on the brakes, sending his entire body flying through the air. And right at that exact moment, Choi Young-moon caught the stolen bag. The crowd went wild, cheering for him. The blonde magician hero made his grand entrance. He turned his head, smiled at Y, and said, "I've been waiting for you, for a long time." Y was completely stunned. He was actually waiting for me? Y suddenly remembered what the prison guard had said. So the guy who could help him was Choi Young-moon all along. He smiled and told Y, "It's a bit chaotic around here right now. Why don't we find somewhere quieter to have a proper chat? What do you say?" In the cafe, 2 drinks sat on the table. But the atmosphere wasn't relaxed at all. Choi Young-moon sighed, saying the world had completely changed. Ever since the executioner took over the villains, everything's gone to hell. While jotting something down, he complained about how heroes nowadays have to deal with all this petty, trivial crap. Meanwhile, his fangirls in the background were still swooning over him. He complained that while the dangerous villains in the city had disappeared, they were replaced by a bunch of annoying petty thieves. Hearing this gave Y the creeps. But Choi Young-moon just smiled, telling Y not to worry about being exposed. He said Y's face was already covered by an illusion. The entire space of the cafe had been warped. He claimed it was to help Y feel more relaxed. Y instantly understood. Back in the day, this was the exact same trick he used to drive his opponents completely insane. Choi Young-moon held his coffee, his eyes hiding an unfathomable depth. So, this was the aura of a legendary hero candidate. The great Choi Young-moon? Y asked him why someone so high and mighty, why a top-tier hero like him would support a villain. After all, people were calling him one of the big 3 now. Choi Young-moon slowly put down his coffee cup. He said he knew Y had something left behind by Yi. The formula for the elixir of salvation. The elixir of salvation? I was shocked. What on earth did he want with something so dangerous? 8 years ago, during Z's reign of terror, that drug was the ultimate weapon. It could amplify superpowers to infinity. Y slammed his fist on the table. He couldn't believe this guy dared to go after Yi's legacy. But Choi Young-moon just smirked and said he wanted Y to manufacture the drug and spread it everywhere. Y was absolutely dumbfounded. Choi Young-moon explained that it was all for his wedding. Looking at his sickeningly gentle smile, Y just felt a chill run down his spine. This was way too creepy. Going through all that trouble, just for a wedding? The woman he loved told him that if he became the #1 hero in the Hero Association, she'd finally marry him. What the hell? What kind of insane reason to get married is that? I just don't get it. Y could only crouch on the ground, trembling as he repeated this lunatic's grand plan. He promised to cover all the manufacturing costs, and with a smile, told Y to go expand a distribution network. Surrounded by an illusion of raining gold coins, Y only heard him give a deadline, 2 years. He said that in order to reach the absolute top, he needed more powerful villains to fight. And Y was the key to making that happen. Y clenched his fists. He fully realized he was just a stepping stone for this guy's ambition. But, he took the gold card anyway. He figured, this was just a perfect transaction of mutual exploitation. So, is that how the story goes? I started to feel like something was a bit off. I asked him, these mangosteen boxes, are they all filled with those pills? He said he wasn't sure either. Yeah, exactly. What's in there is the salvation drug. They were all originally created by Z. Can you let me go now? He said this drug was supposed to be our hope. A cure for the side effects of superpowers. Why are you only mentioning the good parts? Did you really think I didn't know about this drug? This stuff is highly addictive. And the backlash, the side effects are absolutely terrifying. The consequences are disastrous. So, what are you? How far along are you? Y said that with the materials and the magician's support, they're still working on it. So, once you finish today's deal, there's a very good chance you'll run into the magician nearby. Well, then I know exactly what to do next. Let's get moving. Hey, boys, did you hear me? Yes, boss. I was originally planning to just kill Y, but then I thought of something much more entertaining. Choi Young-moon was furious about Y's delay. He absolutely despises unreliable partners. When Choi Young-moon asked who he had brought with him, Y eagerly bragged that I was a kidnapped hostage. I forced a terrified sob, begging Choi Young-moon to save me from Y. Wow, Y grumbled. Y glared at me, demanding to know if I had spilled their secrets. You'd better not have, or you're dead meat. He threatened. I shook my head frantically, claiming I was just an ordinary citizen. I cried that I didn't want to get involved at all. But the moment the magician heard me mention the Kim family, his expression instantly froze. He definitely sensed something was off. I told them that Kim Il-hoon and I were supposed to stop them together, but that Kim Il-hoon had already been defeated. I played the innocent victim, all while the wire in my tie clip was recording the cold, hard truth. He was standing right there conspiring with the villains. So, the second he laid eyes on me, he couldn't just stand by. He had to protect his precious reputation as a hero. Since I was tied to the Kim family, he was definitely going to try and silence me, wasn't he? Right then, Y was completely hypnotized, and plunged his knife straight into his own body. Is this guy really that ruthless? Y's body began to violently sway, completely out of his control. Magician flipped the script in an instant, righteously screaming at them for daring to harm an innocent civilian. It finally dawned on Y. He had been completely betrayed from the very beginning. With a smirk, the magician declared that he could never, ever forgive such a heinous kidnapping. Y let out a blood-curdling, desperate scream. And right before taking his last breath, he was still muttering Z's name, dying with nothing but bitter regret and resentment. The magician walked over to me, perfectly playing the part of the noble hero rescuing a kidnapped hostage. He reached out and helped me up, faking genuine concern as he asked if I was hurt. I had originally planned to leak the audio of him plotting my murder. But then, the magician grabbed my hand, and smoothly claimed that he had been working deep undercover the whole time. He patted me, telling me I didn't need to be afraid anymore. Man, he's an even bigger scumbag than I thought. Alright, thank you, I said. But honestly, I wanted to kill him right then and there. Back in the monitoring room, Jay was desperately trying to stop me. I can't blow my cover just yet. On the cameras, Kim Il-hoon is already rushing over here. A sudden, blinding flash of light left him completely disoriented. That piercing glare was a clear sign that things were about to go down. The drone locked on, ready to light the guy up. But right at the worst possible moment, the damn thing ran out of battery. The man spotted it instantly. With just a flick of his wrist, he completely destroyed it. Jay flinched in the monitoring room, completely stunned. Now, he had absolutely no way to stop the man from moving forward. But he pressed the button. There was still a backup plan. A robotic insect flew out of the busted drone, but right now, it didn't have any way to attack. It could only hang back and keep monitoring. Suddenly, Kim Il-hoon remembered something. Jay was still hoping he wouldn't find Garam. He pulled out his phone. It had the tracking signal for Garam's watch. Crap. Jay had a feeling his boss was gonna rip him a new one when he got back. His mission to stop Kim Il-hoon was a total bust. Kim Il-hoon took off sprinting to find Garam and me. The robotic insect was heading in the exact same direction. Choi Young-moon was still spitting lies about just being undercover, saying everything was going exactly according to his plan. I asked him if he came here alone. I was barely holding back the urge to kill him on the spot. He gave a smug yes, and told me to get out of here with him. He went on and on about how he had to put up with a lot as an undercover agent, but kidnapping innocent civilians was where he drew the freaking line. Right then, I was pulling my dark energy together, ready to end him. He was still running his mouth about the Kim family. Then, he dropped a massive bombshell. My girlfriend, Kim Hae-in, wasn't actually part of the Kim family. Outside, a whole mob of huge thugs were swarming the place, all of them working for Y. They were screaming, demanding to know where Y was. Even though Y was already lying dead in a pool of blood. Choi Young-moon didn't want to waste his breath on these low-level goons. He said it was time to turn up the lights. A blinding light absolutely swallowed the grunts. He just smiled, and threw his arm around my shoulder. telling me to come with him. Right at that moment, the robotic insect made it to the old warehouse. A whole bunch of the goons were clutching their faces, completely blinded by that flash. He laughed, bragging that this was actually supposed to be a surprise masterpiece he created just for Kim Hae-in. Choi Young-moon wasn't hiding his feelings for Kim Hae-in at all. The guy was actively going after her. I was absolutely boiling over with rage at this point. I couldn't believe he had the guts to provoke me right to my face. He was being way too cocky. I snapped at him, "Isn't this masterpiece of yours just designed to blind people? Were you planning on making Kim Hae-in go blind, too?" He smirked. "Of course not. I'd put on a show for her, but I'd never use it on her." "What's the matter? Are you getting jealous, Choi Young-moon? Did this idiot really not know that I was Kim Hae-in's fiancé?" He just laughed it off, explaining that he was super happy to congratulate Hae-in on finally tying the knot. Real heartwarming stuff. Meanwhile, on the other side, Kim Il-hoon was still rushing toward our location. Choi Young-moon tried to change the subject, trying to avoid stepping on any landmines. But obviously, he stomped on every single one. He wondered out loud why Kim Hae-in wanted him to compete for the #1 hero spot in the first place. Back then, she even said that if I could take first place, she would marry me. And I actually took her seriously. Right then, Kim Il-hoon slid to a halt at the doorway. "Shut your damn mouth, Choi Young-moon. I have had it with you." Whoa, what kind of freakish strength is this? He got totally launched. I pinned him down and just started wailing on him with heavy punches. Kim Hae-in is marrying Me. Choi Young-moon was still lost in his delusions. Is there really no hope for me? Could it be that you were never into guys with superpowers to begin with? How am I losing to this Four Eyes? That's when Kim Il-hoon finally spoke up. He stared at us and asked what the hell we were doing. "Can you guys seriously stop fighting?" I looked at him, totally confused. Wait, didn't I send Jay to stall him? And how the hell did he even find this place? Didn't I completely lose him earlier? Plus, Jay didn't even send me a heads up. What on earth is Jay even doing? Wait, isn't that his flying gear? The insect robot traced a flight path in the air, meaning, Jay is completely out of options too. I know what he's trying to say, but I just don't get it. What the hell? Choi Young-moon actually said, "Wow, this is way too interesting." Kim Il-hoon showed up too. So, I just smashed my fist right into his face. He hasn't been beaten in forever. Well, screw him. But the second I threw that punch, I instantly regretted it. I hit him way too hard. I literally fractured my own bone. Are you kidding me? I'm done for. It hurts so damn much. And Kim Il-hoon is actually standing there asking, "Are you okay?" "I told you not to swing." I yelled. I swear, this bastard actually had the nerve to say he wanted to marry Hae-in too. I completely lost it. But man, I think my hand is totally broken. Call a damn ambulance. And Kim Il-hoon is still wondering, is it really that serious? Making such a huge fuss. Meanwhile, the guy who actually took the punch just looks completely clueless. He looks perfectly fine, though right now, I really want to beat the crap out of Choi Young-moon too. Kim Il-hoon grabbed hold of me, while Choi Young-moon was covering his face, laughing hysterically. God knows what goes on in his head. The next day, the news started broadcasting that the escaped convict, while trying to kidnap the Kim family's fiancé, was taken down by the combined forces of Kim Il-hoon and Choi Young-moon, who bravely saved the hostage. I was lying in my hospital bed. Forced to listen to this absolute garbage news. That is not how the story went. My girlfriend, Kim Hae-in, was frantically calling out my name. I held up my arm, wrapped in a heavy cast, and gave her a smile. "I'm fine. It's just a minor scratch." Of course, I never in a million years thought that one day I'd actually break my own hand throwing a punch. She rushed over and threw her arms around me. Sobbing, she cried that I didn't look fine at all. I could only awkwardly pat her back. Even my attempts to comfort her felt completely pathetic. She kept wiping her tears, blaming herself, saying that all of this happened because of her family. I quickly waved my good hand. "I just need a few days of rest in the hospital, that's all. It has absolutely nothing to do with your family." My future parents-in-law rushed over too, carrying baskets of fruit. Their faces were full of pure panic, the moment they walked in and saw my arm in a cast. They instantly lost their minds. My mother-in-law exploded with rage right then and there. She threatened to tear whoever hurt me into a million pieces. The two of them swore they would hunt down the guy. All the way to hell. No need for guns. Seriously, that's taking it way too far. This is blowing up way out of proportion. I wasn't even injured by Z's old general, why? It was all just a stupid accident. After all, this injury was completely caused by my own impulsive stupidity. It definitely wasn't part of the plan. Then it hit me. This little accident might actually turn out to be the perfect excuse to drive a wedge between the Choi and Kim families. Now that's a solid plan. But I hadn't figured out how to spin the lie just yet. Right at that moment, Choi Young-moon and the girl beside him pushed the door open. Kim Young-shik looked completely shocked, having no idea why they were here. Choi Young-moon actually had the nerve to say, "Pardon the intrusion." I didn't expect to see all of you here. I glared daggers at him. What the hell is this bastard doing here? Did I not beat enough sense into him? Down in the crowded hospital lobby, the rumors were already spreading like wildfire. Kim Hae-yeon eavesdropped on people, debating whether a certain someone was the actual hero. Suddenly, he realized that Kim Il-hoon was sitting right in the seat next to him, completely lost in thought. He called out Kim Il-hoon's name, but the guy didn't seem to hear a single word. He froze completely, muttering under his breath, filled with remorse. To think that as a hero, he couldn't even protect his future nephew-in-law. What an absolute failure. His nephew beside him just helplessly scratched his head, completely caught off guard by how hard this hit the guy. On the surface, Uncle Kim Il-hoon is super passionate about his work, always so upbeat and cheerful. But whenever he gets down, he completely shuts himself off from the world. He won't listen to a single soul. Kim Il-hoon was still just thanking his lucky stars that Choi Young-moon went undercover back then. Otherwise, the fallout would have been unthinkable. But the second his nephew, Kim Hae-yeon, heard Choi Young-moon's name, he was so shocked he stopped dead in his tracks. He grabbed Kim Il-hoon and dragged him toward the hospital room. That guy is incredibly dangerous. He and I, Garam, were on the exact same page. We both knew damn well that Choi Young-moon was an absolute bastard. There was no way he'd miss a chance to see me. He was definitely coming to cause trouble. The hospital room door swung open. Choi Young-moon strolled right in. None of us expected him to come looking for me, too. He cheerfully mentioned how he never expected to run into Kim Hae-in, sweet-talking her about how she gets prettier by the day. Kim Hae-in, in turn, thanked him for saving her fiancé. She honestly thought he'd be resting up at home, especially after getting beaten up like that. He took some pretty heavy hits, after all. Watching them chat away over there, I couldn't help but feel completely invisible. Like, do I even exist right now? Choi Young-moon bragged about how close he and Hae-in were. Well, I'm definitely going to have to ask Hae-in about that later. Choi Young-moon asked her why she was being so defensive around him. Kim Hae-in just kept her head down in total silence, her eyes as cold as ice. Kim Young-shik asked if the guy was here to check in, too. He smirked, saying he was just here to run a little test. I'm actually quite curious right now. Let's see if Garam has what it takes to become the future hero of the Kim family. Is this bastard out of his damn mind? He was trying to murder me right to my face. But just a split second before the blade dropped, a flash of green light completely paralyzed the woman. She looked up, and the sheer murderous intent in her eyes sent shivers straight down my spine. My mother-in-law had used her powers to stop the assassination. What the hell are you playing at, punk? You looking to die? Protective barrier suddenly materialized right in front of me and Kim Hae-in. Kim Il-hoon and Kim Hae-yeon burst onto the scene, just in time to witness exactly what had gone down. Kim Hae-yeon stepped forward, closing the distance bit by bit, and fiercely demanded to know if Choi Young-moon was trying to hurt a civilian. My mother-in-law, Kim Choi-hai, spoke up. Don't tell me that the Choi family sent you to do this? He just offered a faint smile, and snapped his fingers, taking a seat by the window. He casually brushed it off. Whoa, relax, everyone. No need to be so on edge. We're all the good guys here. I was simply giving Garam a little test, just to see if he's truly cut out to be a hero. Think of it as nothing more than an evaluation. The two guys listening from out in the hall looked completely dumbfounded. They couldn't even begin to keep up with the sheer chaos of the situation. But honestly, just based on what went down a moment ago, that was more than enough to prove that I was no ordinary person. He leaned in with a playful smirk, aggressively pressing me to reveal what my ability actually was. I stammered, completely unable to form a coherent sentence. The tension was so suffocating I could barely breathe. Kim Hae-yeon heavily clapped a hand onto Choi Young-moon's shoulder. That's enough questions from you, he warned. It's time for you to get the hell out. Scumbags like you aren't welcome here. Choi Young-moon smoothly swatted Kim Hae-yeon's hand away, and casually remarked that it had been a while since they last saw each other. You seem a little on edge there, buddy, he teased. Knowing he'd overstayed his welcome, he turned to leave, tossing out an excuse that the timing wasn't quite right. We'll definitely be seeing each other again, he promised. The scene then cut away to Choi Young-moon stepping into a mysterious laboratory, bathed in an eerie, glowing blue light. A researcher in a white lab coat approached him, bluntly stating that she had already seen the news reports. Little did she know the truth behind the connection with Y's. Why the sudden change of plans? She still wanted to test out if Y could make a decent test subject. But she guessed that Choi Young-won had already given up on the esper known as Y. Young-won couldn't help but complain. Isn't this lab a bit too dark? It makes us look like a bunch of cliché villains lurking in the shadows. He casually asked who this Y guy even was. Oh, the person next to him chimed in to remind him that it was the esper he had literally just taken out today. Young-won just laughed and said that he always forgot about useless trash the second he turned his back. After all, that esper named Y didn't even come close to meeting his standards for a collection piece. His powers are way too unstable. The researcher just let out a helpless sigh and smiled. She was totally used to his cold-blooded nature by now. She hit the nail on the head, pointing out that the bruise on Young One's face definitely wasn't from his fight with Y. Right at that moment, his phone started ringing. He casually tossed his phone straight into the glass of water in front of him, but it just kept buzzing away underwater. The caller ID read, "Boss." He let out a sigh and fished the soaking phone out. He handled the call with a completely flat, bored tone. He mentioned that the scratch on his face was all thanks to a very interesting little liar. He let out a soft chuckle, his voice dripping with pure arrogance. He bragged that spotting a lie was like child's play to him. But instead of just killing the guy off, he actually wanted to personally test his ability to tear off my disguise. The researcher chimed in, asking, "Should we send a little gift over?" That sounded like a great idea. I told Kim Hae-in that she should really go get some rest. She looked like she wanted to say something else. Outside the door, her family had already stationed a bunch of guards. I assured her there was absolutely no need to worry about my safety. I gently told her, "You've been through a massive scare today," and urged her to just go and relax for a bit. Just as Hae-in was turning to leave, I stopped her to ask one last thing. I asked if she and Choi Young-won were actually close. "You two seem really tight," I said. But deep down, I knew they weren't actually that close at all. It was totally just a one-sided crush. I quickly played it off with a laugh, joking that the guy was even planning to do magic tricks for her. She just tilted her head in total confusion. "Magic?" she repeated. She had completely muted all her phone notifications. She was only just now seeing the absolute flood of messages Young Won had bombarded her with. Peeking at their chat history, I suddenly realized Hae-in hadn't even bothered to reply to a single one. "Oh, Choi Young Won. I thought you two had some steamy romance going on, but it turns out you're just a massive simp." Hae-in leaned in close to my ear. The scene flashed back to a few years ago. Her grandfather had gotten into a massively explosive clash with the head of the Choi family. That bitter feud had completely shattered the long-standing alliance between their two families. When she was 6, she and Young Won might have briefly crossed paths. But she didn't elaborate. She just gave me a little wave and said her goodbyes. By evening, the Kim family had gathered around for an intense emergency meeting. Now, they were going to do everything in their power to make sure their future son-in-law didn't suffer another scratch, even if it meant going to war with the Choi family all over again. Meanwhile, I gave my guys a call, asking how things were wrapping up on their end. Out on the dark highway, a cargo truck was tearing down the road. Suddenly, a figure wearing a creepy teddy bear mask stepped right out into the headlights, completely blocking its path. Click. The driver instantly recognized them as part of the executioner squad. Their power was absolutely terrifying. Before the poor guy could even gasp for mercy, a mess of blood-red tentacles completely wiped him out. Jay threw open the back doors of the van. Turns out, the cargo inside was the defeated Y. "I can't believe he's still alive." Jay pointed out that they've already seen the executioner's face. We shouldn't leave any survivors, but Jay still turned to me, the boss, for orders, asking me how we should handle this mess. A cold smirk crept onto my face. A brand new idea had just sparked in my mind. Moonlight spilled into the room. Little Pup was fast asleep on the sofa, dreaming about when everyone would finally come home. But the man before you? He's the ultimate villain, K, a top executive of the Executioners Syndicate. By day, they disguise themselves as a cleaning company, acting like they're just taking out literal trash. But in reality, they wipe out corrupt politicians, hypocritical heroes, and the absolute scum of the earth who don't deserve to breathe. We clean up. That bloodstained mask was once one of the most terrifying symbols in this entire city. But now, the man has somehow turned into a tiny little dog, infiltrating the hero's house to gather intel, dodging the family members day in and day out. The hero, Kim Hae-yun, was getting ready to put him on a leash for a walk. And Kay knew damn well, once that collar was on, his freedom of movement would be completely gone. As for how he ended up in this pathetic mess today, well, it all started the other day. Kay was stuck at the hero's house, holding a secret online meeting with the other executioner executives. Right through the screen, he was getting absolutely chewed out by his colleagues. They were furious, demanding to know why Kay couldn't keep the boss safe. Q snapped at him to shut up, saying his constant barking was getting on her last nerve. They had been calling and texting Kay nonstop, but Kay hadn't replied a single word. Kay tried to defend himself. His mission right now was to wag his little tail and suck up to these people. While simultaneously gathering intel, his phone was sitting right there, but he couldn't even risk touching it. Kay exploded, yelling that he was stuck playing a literal dog for them every single day. "What? Do you expect me to unlock my phone with my damn paws? Give me a break." They shifted the focus to me, the boss, asking about my injuries. I told them I was still stuck in the hospital. I figured I'd be out in a few days. Jay spoke up, saying that even though I was doing this to maintain my cover, torturing myself like this was totally unnecessary. He muttered that getting tangled up with the Kim family was a terrible idea. They're nothing but trouble. Maybe it's time we take care of a few of them for good. Show them who they're really messing with. But Kay chimed in, remembering my direct orders as the boss. that everything had to wait until the wedding was over before making a move. He then announced he had some pressing business to attend to, and cut the meeting short. Honestly, he was acting way too much like an actual dog during this entire infiltration. He had let his guard down in a few places. Right then and there, he made up his mind to sneak out and find me, the boss. He wanted to check up on how I was doing in the hospital. "I'm coming for you, boss." Just at that moment, he spotted the hero, Kim Il-hoon, right in the living room. Kay instantly froze in his tracks. He had no idea what the guy was thinking. Kim Il-hoon was just sitting there, perfectly still. What the hell, shouldn't he be out on patrol right now? Why is he slacking off at home? Damn it, I need to sneak past him. But right at that moment, Kim Il-hoon caught the movement. He slowly turned his head, staring straight at Kay. Kay completely gave up. He just stood there, fully committing to the act like a real, ordinary dog. Staring up at the hero with big, innocent puppy eyes. But Kim Il-hoon's reaction? It was completely unexpected. His face was bright red, and blood was literally gushing from his nose. A light bulb went off in Kay's head. He decided he would use his upcoming walk to make a mad dash for freedom the second they stepped outside. "Get the hell away from me. Stop kissing me. Get your face away from me. This is so gross." But suddenly, the other hero, Kim Hae-yun, swooped in and snatched Kay right out of his arms. "Tell Kim Il-hoon to stop messing around." He actually named Kay, Alexander III. And he decided to take him out for a walk. "Ah, boo-hoo-hoo. Fine, are you seriously not even going to leave the puppy here for me to play with?" Kim Hae-yun was busy putting a leash on Kay, while Kim Il-hoon kept sulking on the sidelines. Kay was absolutely thrilled right now. He could finally go outside. But to avoid another accident like the one with Garam, he planned to get me some self-defense gear. But why was Kay suddenly getting a really bad feeling about this? It was probably another one of his bizarre inventions. My girlfriend asked me what I was thinking about. She said I seemed really tense. I said it was nothing, and just stared out the window. There is always someone hovering around me now. I wonder if something unexpected will happen out here on the street? The crowd saw the hero out for a stroll with a puppy. Kim Hae-yun had actually made a little bee backpack for Kay. It looked pretty darn cute, all things considered. A dark shadow hid in the corner, keeping a close eye on the hero and his dog. She was planning to kill the hero's puppy. This was the perfect moment to strike. She knew full well she couldn't defeat the Kim family in a direct fight. So, she set her sights on the little dog instead. Surprisingly, she pulled out a vial of the potion of redemption from her bag. She used it to boost her own superpower strength. Suddenly, terrified screams from the crowd erupted right behind Kay and Kim Hae-yun. A purple, liquid-like monster dropped from the sky and started chasing after the fleeing, innocent civilians. It turned out to be that villain attacking with her powers. Kay was thrilled, thinking he could use the chaos to make his escape. Heaven was on his side. But in the very next second, he smacked headfirst right into a protective shield. Those liquid monsters were also firmly trapped inside Kim Hae-yun's energy barrier. He ordered the crowd to evacuate, declaring that he would take down this villain himself. He equipped the weapon he designed, but he was very self-aware of his own role in a fight. He was definitely more of a support and defense type. He really wasn't suited for direct, frontline combat. As the purple liquid monsters surged forward like a tidal wave, his figure looked incredibly fragile against them. In an instant, a flash of green light crashed down from the sky. It pierced completely right through the monster. Kim Il-hoon had mentioned he wanted to come help patrol. He didn't expect there to actually be real danger. The monsters started closing in from all directions. Kim Il-hoon declared that just standing on the sidelines and sulking wouldn't change a single thing. Now, he wanted to step up and make a difference with real action. He was going to change his mindset and hone his skills through training. Meanwhile, Kay realized this protective shield couldn't possibly last forever. But he had no idea what it would take for it to disappear. After finally clearing out the swarm of liquid monsters, the two heroes collapsed onto the ground in exhaustion. Kim Il-hoon was still talking about how he needed to train seriously from now on. But pretty soon, even he realized something was wrong. It felt like they had forgotten something. By the time they finally snapped back to reality, Kay was already long gone without a single trace. That crazy woman hadn't been defeated at all. She let out a wicked laugh and snatched Kay right up. "She's weak right now. This is my chance." Kay slammed his body right into the villain, then spun around and bolted. He should finally be free now, right? He was desperately thinking about finding a safe place to transform back into a human. "I just need to get to a quiet place, and then go find the boss." Wham! Kay crashed headfirst right into the arms of a girl sitting on a swing. The girl let out a huge squeal of delight. She thought Kay was just a lost little puppy, and she hugged him incredibly tight against her chest. That's when Kay realized he had run in the complete opposite direction. Back at the scene, Kim Il-hoon was pulling his hair out in total panic. Neither of them had a clue where the little puppy could have run off to. Right then, a voice spoke up from behind them. The guy wanted to know if they could help him find his way. He was lost. A top 3 hero, the knight, sword in hand, he asked if they were willing to help the resistance movement from 8 years ago. As an ordinary civilian, the knight single-handedly defeated 27 villains. Since then, he made it onto the shortlist for the strongest hero. With such terrifying power, the 2 members of the Kim family were absolutely shocked by this powerhouse's appearance. He looked at the monster slime on his hand, and casually remarked that they must have been having a pretty good time. Kim Il-hoon pointed out, "This neighborhood isn't exactly in your jurisdiction, is it? So why are you interfering?" "You're right, but, honestly, I really just got lost. I already told you guys that." Seriously? They felt like the knight was totally messing with them. He casually asked the Kim family if there was anything nearby, like an amusement park, or some place to chill. He was just there to clear his head. Kim Hae-yeon was still reminiscing. Back during the resistance, he definitely wasn't this spaced out. Whatever, just forget about all that for now. Meanwhile, on the other side, the little girl hugged Kay tightly, affectionately rubbing her cheek against his soft fur. "Puppy, let's do a live stream and show you off to the world. Hee, I've gotta show my fans just how adorable you are." She introduced herself as Yura. She was determined to become a next-generation hero, to help out way more people. But right now, all she wanted to do was pamper this little puppy. He was just way too cute. "I need to go find the boss. Let go of me, you evil little girl." He crashed right into a pole. "Oh no, puppy." A loud bang echoed. Through his blurry vision, the little girl's face came into focus. Yura had caught Kay firmly in her arms. She anxiously asked if he was hurt, looking so incredibly relieved that the puppy was okay. Filthy purple footsteps squelched against the ground. Just then, the villain had found Kay, gearing up to finish them both off. Including the little kid. Panting heavily, she ordered the girl to let go of the dog, promising she might just spare her life if she did. Kay was completely stunned. He never expected her to suddenly show up here. All Kay wanted was to shake the girl off immediately, then quickly find a spot to transform back and escape being hunted down. The villain threatened to make her regret it, but Yura just shielded Kay tightly against her chest. She fiercely refused. She shouted at the top of her lungs that Kay wasn't just some pet. He was her partner, and she'd never hand him over to someone who didn't understand that bond. That really set the villain off. Kids these days are getting way too full of themselves, not listening to adults at all. Thick, dark purple slime slowly began to surge. "Don't say I didn't warn you, little girl." The purple slime morphed into a hideous monster, lunging straight at them. "It's gonna be okay, little puppy. I'll protect you." At that very moment, Kay felt a sudden wave of deja vu. It was that exact same gentleness from the past. The purple monster threw its massive jaws wide open. Yura squeezed her eyes shut. Danger alarm triggered. The dormant power deep inside Kay suddenly awakened. Emergency protection mode activated. A machine gun suddenly pops out from the bee backpack. The purple monster freezes in its tracks. Why on earth is a little puppy carrying something so dangerous? The machine gun instantly opens fire. Meanwhile, Kim Hae-yeon is still rushing to the scene. Warning triggered. A barrage of firepower erupts out of nowhere. A massive explosion instantly blasts the enemy away. The deafening roar echoes through the streets. Kim Hae-yeon is completely blown away by the sight. The two of them just stare at the smoke-filled crater. "I can't believe the weapon is that powerful." Hae-yeon remarks that his gadget actually did the trick. Passers-by hear the noise and rush over, crowding around to see what caused the sudden chaos. The little girl holds Kay high up in the air, loudly declaring that the puppy saved her life. "Oh my god." The crowd goes wild, instantly captivated. God. The little girl's eyes are filled with determination. She's absolutely determined to keep Kay by her side forever. Kim Il-hoon just awkwardly scratches his head. This dog obviously doesn't belong to the little girl, but how the heck is he supposed to tell her that? "Hey, kiddo. That dog actually belongs to us. So, do you think you could hand him back?" "No way." The little girl flat out refuses. She announces she's naming the puppy Maxim III. From now on, this puppy is officially hers. Seriously? Talk about playing dirty. Unev, Soup Hospital. The scene shifts, taking us straight to the hospital room. I'm having a chat with the old man, hashing out something really important. He places a sleek box on the table, getting ready to show me what's inside. He pops the box open, asking if I'd be willing to undergo self-defense weapons training. Inside, a high-tech weapon glowing with an eerie green light rests quietly. Wait, is this? I just stare at the weapon, my jaw completely hitting the floor. So what exactly is this, Grandpa? I've never seen anything like this before. And honestly, I'm really not sure about this whole weapons training thing. I just straight up tell him I have absolutely zero interest in it. I can't just casually agree to this, especially since I have no idea why they'd suddenly hand me a weapon this deadly. I definitely can't say yes so easily. My girlfriend, Kim Hae-in, speaks up softly. She admits that she's usually totally against civilians getting weapons training, but she picks up the gun and earnestly tries to convince me to give the training a shot. Just for self-defense, you know? That was. I look at her, seeing how unnaturally stiff she acts. I point out that her little speech is completely unconvincing. Meanwhile, the old man just sits back on the sofa, secretly thrilled that his granddaughter is doing the convincing for him. He thinks back to his master plan from the family meeting. That night, everyone was gathered at the shop. An emergency family meeting had kicked off. Kim Young-shik was confused as to why Choi Young-moon claimed that I, Garam, am no ordinary civilian. Kim Il-hoon thinks back to what he witnessed that day. Back at that old abandoned factory, Garam took down Choi Young-moon with a single punch. Kim Young-shik looks completely stunned. He just can't believe that I actually managed to knock out Choi Young-moon. Kim Hae-yeon breaks into a cold sweat. How could a regular person actually manage to hurt him? They all agree that even a pro hero would have a hard time pulling that off so easily. But Kim Hae-yeon completely disagrees. The rest of the group is just totally baffled. They have no idea how she came to that conclusion. But to Hae-yeon, it really isn't a big deal. What's so weird about that? She asks. After all, her dad, Kim Young-shik, is one of the strongest. Top 3 candidates for the ultimate hero. Their powers are on a totally different level. Plus, her brother, Kim Hae-yeon, has gone toe-to-toe with Choi Young-moon before, and it was a dead tie. But her dad quickly chimes in, explaining that he's just way too strong, so comparing them doesn't even count. But my brother insisted it was his robot that did all the heavy lifting. He said there was no way he could have won if he fought them himself. Mom, Kim Choi-hai, just rubbed her temples in exasperation. She couldn't help but sigh that her daughter was literally surrounded by heroes. They were completely used to it by now. Everyone just hung their heads in collective resignation. She pointed out bluntly that the kid has absolutely zero concept of what a normal life is. But, if all of this is actually true, then it just proves Garam is a natural-born hero, doesn't it? The old man found a seat and sat down. He finally confessed that he had secretly sent someone to keep an eye on Garam a long time ago. But things didn't go as planned. He dropped a massive bombshell, revealing that the evaluator assigned to watch her had been critically injured and was fighting for their life. He suspected it was an attack by Y, or maybe some other villain. Of course, the whole reason he sent the evaluator in the first place was to keep Garam safe. To keep her out of harm's way. But even with all those precautions, this still happened. He realized then and there that tossing more guards at the problem wasn't the answer. Seizing the moment, the old man proposed that Garam should undergo proper, formal weapons training. Kim Hae-yeon looked down. She knew he made sense, but the worry was still eating away at her. Her face turned dead serious as she warned her grandfather that if Garam ever got hurt because of his ambitions, she would hate him for the rest of her life. Meanwhile, the old man was secretly thrilled. He was bursting with pride, overjoyed that he had finally gotten his granddaughter's silent blessing. I looked at it in confusion and asked, BZZT. So I just need to turn this weapon on, right? Kim Hae-yeon assured me it was just a standard stun gun. But the moment it went off, the blast totally shattered the room's glass window. We both froze in absolute shock. But Grandpa just gave a calm, satisfied nod. He praised me, saying my performance just now was absolutely brilliant. Striking while the iron was hot. He offered to personally train me in weapons combat the moment I got discharged. Kim Hae-yeon absolutely lost it. She furiously chewed him out for lying about it being a standard stun gun, yelling at him to go to the armory and pick out something that wouldn't blow a hole in the wall. A few days later, I was finally discharged from the hospital. We were all packed into the car together for the ride home. Kim Hae-yeon was so relieved that I was getting out earlier than expected. I just kept my head down, staring at my phone. I was thinking about how it had been way too long since my last mission. I had a mountain of things to take care of. Tapping open my messages, I saw an urgent notification from Jay, the director of security. What the heck? What on earth is this nonsense? Kay, what kind of stunt did you pull? A live-streamed video titled A Hero had completely blown up online. And heroes alike had already hit 100,000 views, and the comments were just flooded with praise. I wanna hug the hero puppy. People were raving about how even the Kim family's dog was a total hero. A massive truckload of gifts arrived, and the recipient was literally addressed to the hero puppy, Kay. The car pulled up to the house. An absolute mountain of packages had completely taken over the front yard. Kay was practically buried alive in gift boxes. There were cute dog clothes and an entire truck's worth of dog food. I pushed up my glasses, totally losing my mind as I demanded to know what kind of mess he had dragged us into this time. Kay gulped hard, looking guilty as hell. He was sweating bullets from sheer panic. Back when it happened, right as they were trying to take the puppy back, Yura bolted and took off running in a flash. Kim Hae-yeon was just about to chase after her when someone suddenly clamped a heavy hand down on his shoulder. The knight blocked his path, motioning for him to just calm down. The knight made a solemn declaration. This kid was under his protection. He was going to handle the situation personally. Kim Hae-yeon just stood there, stunned and completely confused. What the hell did he mean by protection? He was completely baffled, assuming a powerhouse like the knight was way past dealing with petty street patrols. Liang Su. The knight finally explained his reasons. Jiangsu Pharmaceutical. Jiangsu Pharmaceutical. The girl was the only daughter of the Jiang family pharmaceutical group's president. She was a total VIP. Arkle, Kim Hae-yeon was completely shocked when he found out who she was. He never expected her to be the heiress of a massive corporation. But why exactly did the little girl run away? The scene cuts. The little girl curled up in a corner, holding the puppy tightly. Meanwhile, Kay just wanted to go see his boss. Why does it have to be so hard? The little girl sobbed, pouring her heart out while hugging the puppy. She felt like no one in the world cared about her, except for this little dog and her fans. She looked down and gently pleaded, asking the puppy if he would stay by her side and leave with her. Hey there, little lady. Knight's voice suddenly interrupted her. Come with me. It's time to go home. It's getting pretty late. Kay instantly recognized him as one of the top 3 heroes. He was absolutely stunned. He jumped out of the little girl's arms and dashed right up to the knight. Kay let out a vicious, low growl at the knight, secretly wishing he could just tear the guy to shreds. The knight got the distinct feeling that this little dog wasn't exactly his biggest fan. Bathed in the glow of the setting sun, the little girl quickly scooped the puppy back into her arms, frantically scolding him to stop. She told him he couldn't treat Mr. Knight like that. But the knight had already seen right through the situation. He pointed out that this puppy actually belonged to someone else, and then launched into a rambling lecture. He scolded the girl for secretly knocking him out and then just running off with another person's dog. Pushed to her breaking point by his endless nagging, the girl finally snapped and screamed that she was terrified. Ignoring her protests, the knight scooped up the puppy, totally determined to return it to its rightful owner. Later on, Kim Hae-yeon explained that the Yoon family, deeply grateful for their daughter's rescue, had sent over a massive pile of gifts to show their thanks. I just sat there on the couch, holding the puppy that had finally been brought back to me, staring blankly into space. I was completely lost in thought. Meanwhile, Kim Il-hoon excitedly pulled some adorable children's clothes out of a gift box. The pharmaceutical company even donated funds to the Hero Association. Someone actually suggested making the puppy the face of their new commercial. This whole sudden mess was giving me a massive headache. Kim Hae-yeon furiously tore into the two of them, scolding them for failing to look after a simple puppy while in the hospital. After getting chewed out, the two of them held back tears, looking utterly pathetic. They were practically drowning in guilt, but they still wouldn't let it go. They kept begging me to let the puppy shoot the commercial, but I calmly turned them down flat. I told everyone that I had already found the perfect person to adopt the puppy. The moment the words left my mouth, the entire room fell into a stunned, dead silence. Kim Il-hoon completely lost his mind. He started frantically pounding on my door, desperately calling out my name. He just kept banging on the door. He begged me to just talk to him. Kim Il-hoon completely broke down, sobbing uncontrollably. He pleaded with me to please, just think it over one more time. Besides, the heroes still had a massive pile of official duties to handle. Kim Choi-hai was absolutely heartbroken. Even so, saying goodbye was still incredibly painful. The scene cuts back to my room. This isn't over yet, I said, reminding him of the golden rule. An assassin must always remain completely hidden in the shadows. Kay hung his head in shame, realizing that his flashy stunts had totally blown his cover. He dropped to his knees to apologize. I gave him his final order. Your undercover mission ends right here, right now. From now on, you've got a brand new assignment. I needed Kay to expose the filthy, despicable actions of the magician, Choi Young-moon. Hearing this, Kay instantly snapped back to attention. He accepted the order with a wicked grin, absolutely determined to pull off this new mission. At 2:25 in the morning, a notification popped up on my phone. We had finally cracked the distribution network for the salvation pills. Fresh intel was pouring in. They had tracked down a highly suspicious organization tied directly to Choi Young-moon. I decided to prioritize digging deep into one of their key factions. The salvation pill rolled slowly across the stone table, glowing with an eerie, unnatural light. The sound of steady footsteps echoed, and the blue-haired man immediately stood up. Eager to welcome the newcomer, a knight appeared, leading a little girl by the hand. The man excitedly cried out, calling her the saintess, but the little girl just looked at him coldly. She had absolutely no interest in the man standing in front of her. Meanwhile, I found out that the mastermind behind all this was a cult called the Biwin Church. Suddenly, the man grabbed one of the cult members by the collar, demanding to know who their boss was, before violently hurling the guy across the room. Talking to a grunt like you is a complete waste of time. At that moment, another enemy instantly activated their ability. Controlling floating blue crystals, they sent countless shards slicing through the heavy rain, hurtling straight toward the man. But Li Yun had already anticipated the strikes aimed right at his neck and stomach. In a flash, his body turned completely intangible, leaving him without a single scratch. The blue crystals just passed right through him. Seeing this, another villain yelled out, telling his partner to drop the magic attacks. He decided to go in with his fists instead, eager to see how the chief hero evaluator, Li Yun, would dodge this. Cloaked in crackling lightning, the enemy lunged from the air, but Li Yun instantly predicted the strike was aimed at his face. Now, it was time to counterattack. He threw a devastating punch, slamming right into the incoming enemy. A massive burst of power erupted on impact. The heavy blow sent the enemy flying back. Looks like not a single one of you actually has what it takes. Right now, I just need to know who your boss is. But suddenly, he sensed that something was very wrong. Someone on the enemy side triggered a highly unusual ability. One of the villains slowly opened his palm, revealing a creepy, hidden eye. Suddenly, the scene shifts over to the training ground. I was in the middle of a training session with the old man and Kim Hae-yun. Hae-yun crouched down to comfort me, asking gently if the training was a little too tough. Meanwhile, I was totally just playing it up, pretending to be in agonizing pain. Seeing this, the poor old man just scratched his head in sheer panic, completely at a loss for what to do.